Well, hey, gang. Hope this isn't indicative of the rest of the stream. But, had a little bit of a glitch there to start. Welcome to Kahuna Help, the election night edition. Yes, that's right. There's an electoral map right there. Guys, I'll be watching it. Because one of the other things I am is a politics geek. Yeah. I keep track of that stuff in my alter ego. So, welcome. Thanks. Spent about a half an hour putting that together this afternoon. So, what I like is the fact that the fan kind of blows the green screen a little bit over here, so it kind of looks like it's a real flag, sort of. Not quite, but kind of. So, anyway, been kind of a interesting afternoon. So, welcome to all. I'll wait a few minutes here for people to jump in, because right before I went live, I had a glitch. And it took me, and I had started the stream, and it took me off stream, and then I had to get back on stream. So if anybody had jumped in, they missed me. So, I had to fix that. So, at the moment, I can't see anybody there. That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, it's going to be one of those days. Nothing is quite operating the way it should. Video keeps freezing. That doesn't surprise me. It's skipping frames. It'll catch up in a minute, I hope. Yeah, welcome to a stream here. That has been a problem in the afternoons. Throughput is not great, and we just kind of have to deal. Let's see here. That's what I want. Wanted to move this viewer count down here. You know what? We're going to do it the hard way. It takes a lot longer this way, but we'll do it this way. So anyway. Oh, awesome. More skip frames. Which means I am overtaxing my CPU once again. I learned today the difference between skip frames and drop frames. Skip frames is me asking my computer to do way more than it should. Drop frames are a network issue. So skip frames, that's me. So hopefully skip frames means the audio should be okay, but the video will occasionally freeze. Yeah. There's not a whole lot going on. There's static images, basically. But we'll get there. So, welcome to Kahuna Help. Apparently the one who needs the help is a Kahuna. So, you know. If we get some folks in here who are doing the Game of Tomes writing sprints, I will be happy to do a sprint or two. Otherwise, questions about streaming, questions about writing, world building, how I do my voices, where the dogs are. Hint, they're not in here. Ask away. I do ask that you use question, the word question, at the beginning of your question so that I recognize it as a question, because I'm old and even though I got new contacts, I'll miss them. Let's see here. I do want to... Shit. Sounds like somebody's sharpening a knife downstairs, which is a little scary. trying to think if I did anything wrong today. That's what I'm looking for. So, yeah, for those who were looking for the Kahuna reads this weekend, I'm really sorry. I tried pre-recording it, which I did get successfully done, but the rendering took multiple hours. So did the upload. So we didn't hit our time frame. However, they are up now, so if you want to see it on YouTube or on Twitch, they are there. Twitch.tv/Kahuna the Elder, or my new YouTube address. A lot easier to get to. YT for YouTube. YT.KahunaTheElder.com. Go there and it'll take you straight to my YouTube page, and you'll be able to see the stream there. So lots of fun with that. So hoping I can do more of that, but I do believe we're going to have to change the time frame. Let's see, got a notification that I got a message, which I don't see. Awesome. So looks like we dropped 99% of frames, which means you are seeing me just frozen. Again, awesome. Not something I was really looking forward to this stream, but that's the way it goes. Such a pretty background, too. Oh, it says I've got good throughput, and it's my CPU's not overtaxed. We just don't know what is going on. So we'll just let things kind of settle out. My watch wants me to take a walk. No, that makes it very hard to stream. Well, no, I can stream while walking, but I'll, run into a tree. Entertaining for you, not so much for me. Please don't sing the Frozen song. No. I will not break into my Idina Menzel impersonation. Not gonna happen. Of course, it's going to be an interesting night tonight. It's election night here in the U.S. Excuse me. Although I have a hunch that the U.S. isn't the only one watching this with interest. Word so far that I've heard is that things are going well. That most polling places are going fairly smoothly. Mainly because so many votes came in before today in early voting. In fact, the number I heard today was over 100 million votes, which is more than the actual votes from the last election. Total. We had more early votes than that election had total. That is an astounding number because that doesn't count the people that vote today. We don't know how much that could be. But they believe it will probably be the most participation, the highest level of participation since JFK. Live video is good now. All right, awesome. Yeah, it looks like we're down to 51% skip frame, so it's coming down. It kind of freaks out every once in a while. Oh, there's the message I was looking for. And that's taken care of. All right. So, if you missed our stream on Friday, the happy hour stream, we did announce that we will have a special guest in the lair on this coming Friday. It's a friend of mine I have known since junior high, middle school. And you guys are going to have a blast. It will be Mrs. Kahuna and my friend Red. She's awesome. No holds barred kind of person. You are going to have a great time with that. I'll be here. I'll probably be chiming in through chat. Just kind of lurking in and seeing what's going on. I'll get the stream started for them, and then I'll beg out. I hear they'll be drinking champagne. So it could get interesting fairly quickly. So we'll see how that goes. What did I drink? Oh, I lost my drink. So we should see the first polls from tonight here in about... the first one's closed in about 18 minutes. I'll be on until about 5:30 as usual. And again, whatever people want to talk about, 109 million. Yeah, that's the last one was like 98, 99. So we're well over that. But yeah, I'll be here till about 5:30, and then I will be glued to, returns for the rest of the evening, because 5:30 here, there's still 2.5 hours of voting. Now, it's not like there's a surprise in California. It's not like something weird's going to happen here. But, excuse me, results from other states should be coming in and being solidified during that time. So, could be very interesting. Yes, Grumpy, we will have a ball. You and I can watch it on the big screen downstairs and chime in through chat. Yeah, we don't need to be on screen. They can have it. And I'm sure everybody will appreciate the fact that the two of them are on together and not looking at our ugly mugs. So, there's that. How's the music level, by the way? I can't tell if it's loud or not. It doesn't look like it. I also can't tell where my voice level is in relation to it. It looks like it's okay. Yeah, it looks like the volume level's alright, so. But if the music's a little loud, or I'm a little quiet, or vice versa, let me know. Today was the second day of the Game of Tomes writing sprints on the Kahuna Quiet stream. And to my amazement, they got the writers on the Kahuna Quiet stream wrote almost 14,000, no, 14,000 gold for one, over 13,000 words today during Kahuna Quiet. That is spectacular. That's great results. I'm hoping tomorrow I'm going to set the bar to 14,000 to see if we can hit it. To see if everybody can just, write their tails off and get to 14,000. Nice mixture of volume is true background level. Cool. That's what we want. I didn't actually have to change volume levels this time. I'm actually quite amazed. But yeah, they got over 13,000 words written this afternoon, or this morning, I should say. Oh, man, have I got the yawns. I've just been here all day except for a trip to Costco. Found myself new snacks. I know you're wondering, why do I care? You don't. But if your Costco has these, and you like cheddar cheese, these are not bad. They're a little on the greasy side, finger-wise. I could snack on these, but I think I will probably try to stay away while I'm on the keyboard because they feel a little bit greasy on the fingers. However, I also picked up my other favorite. Them. That says Parmesan. Even if it does green screen out, that's pretty dang funny, actually. Here's the magic. I disappear behind it, but you can see everything. So we all disappear behind the magic of the Parmesan. The election does bore people. Does it? Does it really bore people? That's sad, actually, to me. That's sad. The election is, to me, the chance every 4 years for citizens to make their wishes known. It's not a popularity contest, or at least it shouldn't be. And it shouldn't be the person you think is perfect for the job, because there's no such thing. It should be the person that you think is going to get you closer to your goals. If you want to see your country run a certain way, your election is your path to putting someone in who will get you closer to that way. It's highly unlikely they'll get you there. And face it, they're going to be flawed. But they get you a little closer. And you know, the next time, you pick someone who's going to get you a little closer. And by approximation, you get there. I love that the whole country is actually getting involved. Yes, let's remember. That's your Mary Poppins. Wow, you lost me on that one. Okay. Mary Poppins reference went. Oh, she is perfect. Yes. Practically perfect. She's not perfect. She's practically perfect in every way. Which means she's not quite, but it's intended. Yeah, everybody is getting involved. I mean, this is going to be an amazing event. Where it goes, I don't know. I know what I'd like to happen. I know what I think will happen. I know what I think will happen afterward. But in all cases, it's going to be, we're going to see what happens. Let's see. First polls here close in 12 minutes. So we shall see some results. Close enough. By the way, that map back there, not shoulder, updates every 2 minutes. So as results come in, that map will update. That is actually the map, but you can actually see it just over, just past my ear here. 270 to win. You can follow that map as well. 270 to win. 270towin.com. I get no money from them or anything like that, but I didn't want to put something up that somebody was going to think was partisan. It is not. They will go with when they think a particular state is close enough to call. They will show, I believe, partial results. So you'll see something. Link to the map. That's a good suggestion. Give me a second here. And here I am typing it when I can simply copy and paste. There we go. That is the link to that map. I've actually cropped it a bit because there's ads above, to the right and below it that I just didn't want to put on screen because they don't pay me for those ads. And I didn't agree with a couple of them. Yeah, so that's where things stand at the moment. Is nothing. Now, when it comes to the Senate, as you know, only a third of the Senate gets voted out each election. Right now, 35 seats are in the Democrats' hands, 30 in Republican hands. There's a lot of seats up. It's possible that the Democrats actually take the Senate. And of course, if you're looking at the House, highly likely that the Democrats will retain the House. All predictions going that way. So, also on that map, if you look, it will show you... Oops, I forgot to turn off the Kahuna quiet message. If you look, it'll show you how many electoral votes are there. There will be a point at some point, I don't know if it'll be tonight or tomorrow or end of the week, But there will be a point where one or the other of the candidates will reach that, where those two arrows are in the middle, the 270 line. That's 270 votes, electoral college votes, that are going to be committed to one candidate or the other. Math is math. And there are certain states that are crucial to each of the candidates. For example, the current president, if he loses either Florida or Georgia, is highly unlikely to win. He needs those votes. But you have a similar issue in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Those states also have a lot of votes. In fact, those three, well, two of those three have more than Georgia does. Yes, this is math geeky stuff. But apparently right now it's just me and Grumpy, so we can talk about this stuff. Anybody else jumps in, we'll say hi and go to something else. So, that's where, you know, those are going to be the states that are going to be really highly watched. Florida will actually be one of the first ones we find out about. And it has been a very close race there between the two candidates. So we'll see where that goes. If it tips towards Biden, at that point, Trump is going to be very hard-pressed to make any headway. If it tips in Trump's direction, then you're going to be looking at Georgia, and you're going to be looking at Pennsylvania, you're going to be looking at Michigan, and you're going to be looking at Wisconsin, and trying to see if there's enough votes for Biden to stave him off. You can pretty much count on the left coast, Washington, Oregon, and California. They're pretty much all going to go to Biden. So right there, that's, let's see, 67, 74 electoral college votes just in those three states. Bang. Hawaii is 4. That's another one. So now you're at 71 electoral college votes out of 270 just in 4 states. And that doesn't count the Northeast, which is fairly Democratic. So you've got these swaths that are likely to go. One of the other surprises to look for would be Arizona. Arizona is a state that is currently leaning towards Biden, believe it or not. To everyone's shock, I think. But it's becoming a more blue state, as they would say. And we are about 6 minutes away from the first calls. Exit poll shows 65% white voters, which means more non-white people are showing up to vote. That's true. Yeah. Traditionally, it's somewhere in the, I want to say, 75 to 80% white. Now, that all depends on which exit polls they're using. Some of the exit polls are including people who cast their ballot ahead of time. So they're making phone calls to people who had already cast their ballot. And in that case, you know, those are mail-in ballots. It's not who's showing up to the polls today. And so you can't really measure that against previous elections because it's not the same. The poll is not being conducted the same way. It's an interesting number, and it does mean that there's a strong portion of the electorate that may not have been represented before. 2016 was 74, right. So the question is that exit poll taking into account people who've already mailed in their ballots? And there's a lot of those, as we've seen. There's more than there was the entire last election. So, yeah, 16 was 74%. Yeah, so that's a significant shift. If it is a shift towards minority voters, that's a significant shift. I think Biden would like to think that that's going to mean good news for him, and good chance it does. But apparently Trump has been making headway with African American men. So, there's that. 4 minutes. Kind of interested to see what happens here. You and me, Grumpy. We'll just be watching this. I have mine on my screen to my right here because it's easier for me to see than the one up there. Up there. The only thing I don't like about this background, and you know, I shouldn't lean too far back because then I get right into the backup light. The thing I don't like about this background is it reminds me of Wally George back in the 80s. Whose real claim to fame was he was Rebecca De Mornay's dad. All right, well, before I get rated, time for eye drops. iPad has CNN, work monitors are up, and me and you on the Mac. Well, you are covered, sir. You've got a full screen setup. You're doing well. 2 minutes. 2. Yes, Wally George. Yeah, he had that flag background. So I did it for election night. It will not be any further than that, unless I'm streaming on 4th of July next year. The map is behind in its update, but I'm sure they're working feverishly to get the information up there. And we wait. There will probably be a raid, I'm guessing, somewhere between 4 and 4:15 from Sable Radio, because they will be going offline somewhere in that range. And we'll get a ton of people in. And if we do that, we will start a sprint. I should probably set up that sprint. Do this. And let me add that. The video and everything seems to have settled down now, so we have to add text. Source. New source. File. Oh, that was small. Oh dear. There we go. No, that's not it. Alright, so we've given it a place. So we can do writing sprints when folks show up. Alright. It's about that time. We should start seeing some results start to come in slowly. So closing this hour, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vermont, Virginia. At the half hour will be North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia. Nothing has been updated quite yet. That's not terribly surprising. That was a pretty solid state for them. However, I will wait until these guys update it. Because these guys are doing their own thing. As a state is called, they're doing something interesting, which is they have, probably hundreds of different simulations that they've run to figure out what the permutations of people winning the election are. And what they've done is they said, okay, we have all these simulations. Now, once a state is called, that means you can get rid of all the simulations that don't match that one. So once they call that, then it's going to go up. Let's see if they've actually... I don't think there's any called yet. Yeah, none of the states have officially been called. But Indiana was expected to go the way that CNN has called it at this point. And there we go. There's the first one. Vermont has been officially called at this point. That's 3 votes. So that moves it that direction a little bit. And we'll see what it's like here in the next few minutes as things update. And they called that at 7:02. So, not a huge state, and also not unexpected. In fact, I should actually pull that one up. Yeah, Vermont was definitely slated to go Biden's way. Yeah, Vermont was in the... Yeah, Vermont was considered one of the most likely to go for Biden, so that's not a surprise in any way, shape, or form. Indiana is actually... Oops, sorry about that. Indiana was definitely into the... wasn't necessarily a safe state for Trump, but it was in the... solidly in his column, so... again, no real surprises as of yet. Other than there's two of us here just talking about the election. Aloha, Barbarossa! Aloha! We're here doing Kahuna Help and election returns at the same time. Because you're only the second person to get here. So, aloha! So, if you have questions, this is the place. And if we get a few more people, I will put up a writing sprint because I'm just feeling it today. Waiting for Georgia polls to close and first updates. Let's see, Georgia, I believe I said Georgia was... Georgia's closed, in theory. So, the question is, when are we going to see enough returns to see an outcome there? And that's an unknown. Georgia is one of those states that was really close to a toss-up, leaning slightly Biden. It will be interesting if that comes up as a Biden, if he takes a larger lead than expected there. Because if he does, if Biden takes a larger lead than expected there, and it doesn't seem to be narrowing as the night goes on, it's over. It's pretty much over. And that might just put it into landslide territory. Most of the pollsters are looking at 330 electoral college votes for Biden. It's a battlefield. Boss recently sent out measures about how to handle post-election customers. Oh, sorry, man. Really, really sorry. Yeah, I honestly think either way it goes, there's going to be people upset and distraught, but I have a hunch one direction is going to have a lot more people completely freaked out in that part of the country. Just glad I don't work till Thursday. Yeah, I get it. So that's where we sit at the moment. One state called, waiting for returns on the others. I'm actually, when I started up the stream, what I was talking about is this map that I have up, and let me post the link again. They're updating every 2 minutes, but they are only updating things when there's an actual called state, or, well, called. It's a called state, and there's enough results out that they can make a confident call, and so it will show up a little slower than some of the others. But that's mainly because until I go off stream, I'm not going to want to sit there and nitpick every little result, because some of the bigger precincts in some of these states can sway things dramatically in seconds. Well, seconds. A precinct comes in, all of a sudden, bang, everything swings because it's a big precinct with a predominantly Republican or predominantly Democratic vote. So those are the ones that are going to be the difficult ones towards the end of the night. but they also know what those are. So there's a lot of that guesswork is gone. Right now, the final forecast, with Vitt winning Vermont, which was expected, it didn't really change much. Biden was expected to win 85.4%, and right now it's looking like he might win 85.6% of the vote. Or I should say, he's got an 85.6% chance of winning. And the median electoral vote average is 348. That's 78, almost 80 votes more than he needs. If you start doing the math, you can see how he could lose some significant states. Still get there. So we'll see how that goes. But it looks like they're still doing a lot of counting. I mean, we're at 13 after. We only have one state called. Let me check another of my sources here. And I do watch a number of sources. I track a number of sources here, so I'm not just looking at one place. I think that's the mistake a lot of folks have made in the past is they said he won. Well, they said he won. You got to look at all of them. Let's see what I got here. So 270 to win is calling Vermont. NBC, I guess, is calling Indiana. But like I said, 270 to win is not. So I don't know if I put a ton of stock in that yet. Just because, you know, let me rephrase that. I know he will. Listening to some left-wing media who I just know that Atlanta and Savannah have a high percentage Democrat. I'm hoping that's enough to swing it. Yeah, I think Atlanta and Savannah are both going to be places that have a strong representation and could swing the votes there to the Democratic side. Whether they have enough both in just directly in Atlanta and Savannah and to overcome the rural areas, that's going to be a different thing. They're saying Trump has Indiana and Kentucky. So that would be a total of 18 electoral college votes. That's all I see. Yeah, Trump is saying, they're saying only, NBC is only saying 11 from what I can see, at least what they have online. But they don't have Vermont for Biden. So again, that's one of the things. I'm looking at one map, shows 3 for Biden, 0 for Trump. I'm looking, the other one says 0 for Biden, 11 for Trump. It could go either way at this point. Senate numbers have not changed. It's kind of funny because at the top of NBC's page, and I should say MSNBC, not just NBC, MSNBC's page, latest presidential results that are in show Trump winning. The only ones that are in are, you know, a couple of states. So that, again, that's going to go all night long. But yeah, I am curious, Barbarossa, to see what happens on Georgia. That could be an interesting result there. Either way, I'm super happy at how many people actually chose to go out and participate this time. I have for years said people need to get out and vote. Verbal from CNN still showing as 0 Biden, 11 Trump. Okay, yeah, that's what NBC is showing as well. And again, Indiana doesn't surprise. Was never really a Trump or a Biden state at all. But yeah, I mean, I have for years told people, get out and vote. It's your duty as a citizen. If you want a better, and I'm going to steal this line from a guy I follow by the name of Jim Wright. If you want a better country, you got to be a better citizen. And Jim is absolutely correct. You can't expect things to change if you don't do anything to change them. If all you say is, oh, things will never change, you're right. If you don't do anything, things can never change. But if we all put our efforts into it to change them, we can make things change. It is possible. Yeah, Pence's home turf, exactly. Earlier to show Biden leading Florida. Yeah, there's 2 issues with that. Now, Florida will report fairly early because they have been counting for a while. Their law allows them to count before Election Day. So you're going to see a lot of early returns. They expect that, within a few hours, we'll have Florida's returns pretty much in, with the exception of some absentee ballots, but not enough to change things. But the panhandle is very red. So you're probably seeing Miami, Orlando. The big cities are probably, where Democrats tend to be, are probably leaning that way. But when it comes to places like out here in the Panhandle, that's really red. I'm surprised that Georgia and Texas are both swinging right now. If you told me 4 years ago that those 2 states were on the fence, I would have been shocked. Yeah. Okay. Here's an interesting little tidbit, though. There's a lot of ex-Californians in Texas. And not necessarily because Texas was just red. I know a lot of folks who moved out there for work. Housing was cheaper. It's going up. Taxes were cheaper. They're going up. The Austin area has always been much more of a left-leaning area. So it's becoming more and more purple. It's going more and more, down the middle. There are always going to be the pockets of red there. That's the way it works. Rural counties tend to be red. But, yeah, Texas is changing. Arizona's just a huge one to me. That's one if you'd have told me 4 years ago was potentially going to go blue in this election, I would have been shocked. Absolutely shocked. That amazes me. But that's what it's looking like. So let's see. NBC has finally put up Vermont for Biden. So yeah, they're showing Indiana for Trump, Vermont for Biden. So they're feeling good about that one. Like I said, 270 to win has not given it to Trump yet. Sarukas, you are welcome to. By the way, Sarukas, let me know if you're doing Game of Thrones sprints or Game of Tomes sprints. If I get 1 or 2 more viewers, I will do a sprint here because why not? NBC projection that Joe Jorgensen going to get 1%, not enough to get a ballot or to become a major party. And that actually is one of those where I kind of go, really? Because if you voted for George Jorgensen, what you are saying, and this is my impression of it, is that you're saying your vote for the purity of a candidate is more important than ensuring the two really viable candidates get there. There is no way someone like Jo Jorgensen, who, frankly, I haven't looked much into it except for the fact that she's a libertarian and there's a lot of things that come with that I'm not a fan of. Managed to get 5K before midnight hit for me, but I'll sprint happily if you end up doing it. All right. Yeah, if we get one or two. I'm expecting I'll probably get a raid here from Sable and Aaron in a few minutes, and if I do, I will throw that sprint out there. You got someone like Jo Jorgensen, they're never going to get up to 30 or 40% to be viable. So what you're saying is, I'm going to vote for a person that can't possibly win this election, and it's just going to steal a vote from some other candidate, and I'm not going to get what I want anyway. And you're not, because that's not how elections work. You don't get the perfect candidate. As Terry said before, the only perfect one is Mary Poppins, and she's only practically perfect. I should say, Grumpy, as Grumpy said it before. So, you're not going to get a perfect candidate, so vote for the one that's going to be the closest to you. Sarukas, what part of the world are you in, by the way? Because I don't think I have you on my handy-dandy map of people who've been on my stream. I just like doing it so I can keep track of where people are. Thinking Purdue would lead. Okay, remember, you're seeing early polls in big areas. But Purdue looked really bad in the last debate against Ossoff. Really bad. Ossoff just kind of tore him up. So, you know, it surprises me a little that Ossoff would be doing that well. But I don't know that I would bank everything on it yet. Why am I not getting... Oh, there it is. There it is. Jeez. He canceled the second debate. Yeah. Well, oh. Allow. How many I needed to flip the Senate? It was at least 3. It was at least 3. But 5 would be great. England. Let's see. Kahuna viewers, that's what I want. So Sarukas is over there with DM Stretch. There we go. Yeah, I like keeping track of where everybody is. That way I know what time frame you're on and all that stuff. And it helps Mrs. Kahuna during our happy hour stream. Let's see. Coward cancel the second debate. Yep. Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't know if I'd call it cowardice. If you know you're going to get beat up, it's the right political move. And like I said, I'm a political junkie. While I have my candidates and I have my, ideology, the fact of the matter is I also understand politics as they work. And in this case, you've got a situation where he got just beat up. He looked bad. and he had no real answers for it. Why, politically, would you do that again? That's just, no. Purdue looked awful the first debate. He could not answer a question properly without trying to throw all stuff. Yeah, that's just it. He didn't have answers that worked, and Ossoff turned around and just hammered him. So yeah, kapow. Yeah, so we're just kind of looking for. Should be more results here starting to pop up in about 3 minutes. We've got North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia closing. North Carolina will be an interesting one because that has been kind of back and forth. Let's see here. North Carolina. I could be wrong. South Carolina. Look at the. There it is. Yeah, North Carolina. Fairly close, but it's Biden had almost a 2-point lead there, so that's close. Ballots are processing in Fulton and Savannah. Yeah, that's gonna take a while. Those are big counties. It's gonna take them a while to really kind of get everything together and make that work. So, we dropped a couple of viewers. I guess people didn't want to watch us. They weren't all that interested. But again, if we get a couple more, we're going to do a writing sprint, and then I'll, just shut up and watch. I like this tune. Kind of. Good for writing a fight scene or a chase. Barbarossa, how's your writing coming along? Are you doing well? I know you're doing Nano. How's it coming? We had, like I said, this afternoon was amazing. Amazing finish in my Kahuna Quiet stream. I had about 6 people writing, and they put out more than 13,000 words. Obviously not to inform how you guys do things, but if someone gets over to... Yes. So each state is allotted a certain number of votes based on their population. So, for example, Montana, big state for land, but they only get 3 electoral college votes because their population is so small. Wyoming is similar. California, 55 votes because we have such a big population. New York, 29 votes, again, based on the population. So, since those votes represent the population, then what you get is, and there's a minimum number of votes, and there's a formula. It's not exactly population, but it's the way it's supposed to work. If you get to 270, there are 535 possible votes. If you get to 270, actually, there's 538 possible votes, not 270, 538. So if you get to 270, you've gotten more than half. Half is 269. You get to 270, you are the de facto winner. It doesn't matter how many votes you get after that because the other person can't get as many votes. So 270 is kind of like the high water mark. So what you're going to watch, or what you're going to see over the course of the night, is those electoral votes get tallied on either side. And at some point, there is a mathematical impossibility for one person to get there. For example, you may see that Biden is at 240. But of the remaining states, Trump can't get enough to overcome the 270 because we know how those states are going to vote. For example, the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California. There are 70 votes there roughly. Trump is not going to get. He just isn't. There's no possible way he gets those. So he can't count on those 70 votes. So even if he gets to 250, but those are the only 3 states left, he's not getting there. It's done. Because those will go to Biden. Not doing nano. Over gets 325 in Parliament. Yeah. Yeah, so basically it's the same idea. Decided not to do nano, backed out because I couldn't finish my plot. I'm using this time to build and prep for World Ember. My outline is getting better. Excellent. 3 new articles, ranging to 1,700 words total. Cool. Good. Good. You know what? To me, all of this stuff, it's less about the competition and more about inspiring you to move forward. That's really kind of the key with all of this stuff. That's why I'm doing the writing. I suck at writing sprints. Kahuna sucks at writing sprints. No, don't like it. Just, nah. I don't do the writing sprints. But I love putting them up for people because that gives them something to work on, something to work to. And like I said, I was watching people in 15 minutes do 1,100 words. In 15 minutes? That's like 75 words a minute. That is just on fire writing. And that's awesome. You know, I had one person say, well, the music was really kind of helping them really get inspired and write. Awesome. That's what I want to be there for. So just because it doesn't work for me, during that Kahuna Quiet stream, if it works for you, show up. And it doesn't matter if it's for nano or anything else. It's just right. It's there to be an inspiration. It's there. It's just a tool. If it works for you, great. And if it doesn't, that's great too. UK, it's similar to 325 seats in Parliament. I'll be honest. I'm not as familiar with how Parliament works. The whole House of Commons thing, Parliament, So I'm guessing because of 325, there's got to be 648 or 49 seats in Parliament. And so if you get to 325, you've gotten 50% and plus 1, I'm guessing. And you get there. But you guys also have, my understanding is, you have more parties that are viable than we do. So I would guess that getting to 50% is a tougher measure than it is here, where getting to 50% when you're one or the other, getting to 50% is not that big a deal. And another thing to keep in mind, a lot of us are not necessarily fans of this electoral college system. And the reason for that is it gives states with smaller populations a lot more voting power than it does the states with a bigger population. And so it does not reflect the popular vote. The last election was a prime example of this. Trump actually lost the popular vote by somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 million votes. So 5 million more people voted for his opponent than voted for him. But he won the votes in the states that gave him the most electoral college votes, or electoral college points, if you want to call it that. And so therefore he won. He got to 270. And Clinton could not, even though he had less votes by around 10%. Think about that. 10% less people voted for him than voted for his opponent, but he still won. We have 3 viable parties mostly. One of the little parties got 1 seat last time. Well, you know, sometimes they join up with another party to push their combined totals over 50. Right. So that's the backroom deal kind of thing, where it's like, all right, we don't want them to win. You don't want them to win. Let's push together to get our parties together and get over 50%. And then we'll figure out, you know, and now the deal is who gets to claim the win. West Virginia has been tossed to Trump. West Virginia, I believe, was well in Trump territory. Yeah, that was one of the reddest of the red states. So at this point, they are calling West Virginia and Vermont on 270 to win. NBC News has not added that yet. We don't really like our system either, but we don't actually vote for the Prime Minister. We vote for the member of the Parliament area. Okay, that makes sense. I'm going to try to pronounce that as Sophototh. Did I get it right? Let me know. We're doing well. We have at least 3 writers here. So that's, I think, enough. If you guys want to do a sprint, I would be more than happy to start the sprint clock. In addition to sprinting, we're talking about the election, educating each other on our various political systems. Sarukas is from the UK. Obviously, we're here watching our election here. Just kind of making sure things go on. Sopho. I want to get it right. So you pronounce the first TH as a TH. So Sopho, Thoth, Thoth, Sopho, Thoth, Sopho. I want to get it right. I do voice acting. My thing is to get it right. Because then I can give you an introduction. An appropriate introduction. Yeah, so if you guys want to do a okay. So if you guys want to do a writing sprint, let me know. I have the clock ready to run. Like the Egyptian god. That's kind of what I was thinking. And I've seen that pronounced 17 ways. A long O, a short O. A hard T for the beginning or a TH pronounced similarly. Okay. All right. Good to know. And where are you dialing in from? We've got folks right now from Georgia in the United States, from California, from the UK. I always like knowing where people are coming from. And then when we do our happy hour stream on Fridays, my wife, Mrs. Kahuna, likes to be able to know where people are from. We've had them from all over. Estonia. We have Estonia. We've had Japan on occasion. New York. All right. So let me add you to my New York list. Actually, you're the first one from New York. I got a Jersey, but I don't have a New York. What just happened to my New Jersey? What was that? There it is. All right, so hey, thanks for following. All right, got you on the list. Why did it pop that up twice? Very strange. Very strange. All right, so you guys, you know what? I'm going to start a writing sprint for you guys. If you want to do it, great. If you want to keep chatting, chat away. Up to you guys. But we'll get one going for you here. So let's see. Let me pop it up. So we'll do a 15-minute writing sprint. That'll get us most of the way to the next poll closing. But again, if you want to chat, drop it in there. It only did it once in your chat. Okay, yeah. For some reason, it did it twice up there on mine. Well, at least on the on-screen chat. I don't know why. All right, so it's a 15-minute sprint. Starting here in a second, you will see the clock in the bottom right of the screen. And in 3, 2, 1, go. For those of you who care, Kentucky has been called for Trump, but Virginia has been called for Biden. So Biden has now taken a 16-13 lead in the electoral college vote. I am. So if you are doing a right here, I'm actually a collector. I do not have a house. I report for all houses. So all you got to do is, at the end of a sprint, just go down there to the little coconut drink and pick the house you're reporting for, put in your word count, and I will report it. During my Kahuna Quiet stream, which is in the mornings, we had folks write over 13,000 words today. So I'm hoping we'll beat it tomorrow. But it's fun to watch everybody write. So yeah, if you're doing it, please report it at the end of the sprint, because I will report it up to the main spreadsheet. I am not. I suck at sprints, so I don't do the sprints, but I do collect the word counts for everybody else. So I have all 6 of the houses down there, so you can post what house you want your word count to go to, and that's where it goes. Today it was, the big ones were, Avis was huge today. I want to say Avis had something like 6,000 words. But Chiroptera was not far behind. They were somewhere around 3,500, close to 4,000. And then we also had some from Lapin and Apis, the bees. So whichever one you want to report for, easy enough to do. I just really suck at sprints. I do too many things at one time and I squirrel too much, so my counts are always lousy. But I was watching people do between 50 and 100 words a minute during the sprints. It was absolutely insane. Got about 7 minutes left in this sprint, folks. 1 minute left, my friends. Just 1 minute. Little Dumbledore there. $363 for Apis. All right. Excellent. I will report that. Anybody else writing with the... To find where I put it. Oh yeah, under here. Alrighty. Doesn't seem like anybody else is going to be reporting. We'll do one more sprint here. I'm on for another 32 minutes, so I will start another sprint here in about 10 minutes. We'll go in about 10 minutes. We've got polls closing, so we've got a little bit to chat about there. See if anything pops up here. A lot of chat about Florida, how Trump may actually be doing better with Hispanic voters than they expected. I have not been doing the flash challenges. I've been bad. Actually, I have been writing a lot, but I've been writing in my, working on my gaming system. The Kahuna simplified D20 gaming system. I'm hoping to get, within the next month or so, get that more solid to where I can start having people play test it. Because really that's where the rubber meets the road. If people can understand it, if people can play it, can use it to play, and enjoy it. So I'll put some kind of a thing out there somewhere, probably on the World Anvil Discord and a few other places, to say, hey, if you want to play test a new game, let me know. All right, so we're about to round the corner here at 5 o'clock. 5:30 I will be off, especially because Domino's should be showing up with pizza then. Which, you know, pizza. And the 5 o'clock hour turns. Let's see what happens here. See if anybody calls anything. Sarukas, what part of New York are you from? My kids spent last holiday season, spent a week out in Auburn visiting someone. So I'm curious, what level of lethality does this system have? That's a little hard to answer. It can be very lethal. Early. Oh! Incoming! Welcome, Sable. And welcome, friends. Welcome to the Kahuna Help Stream. I am being boarded. We have Rowan and DM Stretch. Oh, did I say Sarukas? No, yeah, you're right. I did mean Sophototh. You're right. And Aaron is here. Welcome all. You just missed the last writing sprint. We're going to do one more here in about 5 minutes. We'll get one more in before the end of the stream. I am quitting at 5:30. I think the pizza just arrived. So, don't want my pizza to get cold. So welcome Raiders. Welcome Sable. Yeah, so we're keeping track of an election. We're writing. Typical stream. We're just going to kind of do everything because that's what we do. So back to the question about lethality. Perfect. I'm coming back at 5:30. Just watch video reading out of them. Thank you, Stretch. I enjoyed it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I am going to split those out into separate videos here, so you'll be able to use a clip on your own. Sorry for the caps. That's okay. Figured you were just yelling at me that you'll be back when I leave. So the lethality of my gaming system. The gaming system is based on dice pools. The basic dice pool is 5 dice, 5 d20s. All of my rolls in the dice system are a d20. There are modifications to the rolls, but they're all a d20. Why? I wanted to make it as simple as possible for someone to literally have one die and play the game. Because you can roll 5 times. So basically it's fails or successes on a die roll. Anything above a 10, 11 or above is a success. 10 or below is a fail. But 1 and 20 are treated as criticals. So a 20 is 3 successes and a 1 is 3 fails. So you can have as many as 15 successes or fails on a roll. Anything above a 5 in anything above 5 failures or successes has dire consequences. So they represent, the whole idea is to represent, a 1 is, yeah, you got them and there's a little bit of damage, but not really. There's never a 0. A 0 is always re-rolled with a single die. A 2 is moderate damage. 3 is, wow, you hit them hard and maybe you've even disarmed them. Anything above a 3, you've knocked them down, you've disarmed them, their weapon is broken, and the party takes damage. So it can get lethal very quickly because of all those points racking up. But it also takes into account between offensive and defensive attributes. The little guy has just as much a chance of having one of those lethal hits as the big guy. In other words, the little guy can get lucky sometimes. Or the bad guy can get very unlucky sometimes. And so I always wanted to have an even playing field where things didn't necessarily mean you were going to win because you were stronger or lose because you were weaker. The odds are not in your favor, but it could happen. And then, of course, you add things like armor. My biggest thing is I am trying to make it very much genre agnostic so that you can use this in any genre. Sci-fi, fantasy, steampunk, cyberpunk, whatever you want to use it for, you can. The idea is to give you a framework to build your stories and your characters around that is portable, so that you could, for example, take a character that was built in a sci-fi world and bring them over to a fantasy world with very little change. You might have to change weaponry or armor, but their skills would be relatively the same. It's also not, there is no real leveling in this. It is skills based. So you don't become a level 20 paladin. No, you become a character who has developed this skill and that skill and that skill up to a certain level. And those dictate your skill in using, or your ability to use those skills successfully. And so that's where I really wanted to go with it, so that there's none of this, oh, I hit enough experience points, it's time for me to be stronger. No. You actually have to learn a skill. You have to spend time learning that skill, and then you move up. And if you fail in learning a skill, it's each time you use the skill, you may get better at it, or if you fail, you go nowhere. So as you use a skill, you become better at using the skill until, boom, you've come to the next achievement level of that skill. But there's, so you want to be a fighter who uses magic and knows how to pick locks? Be that. You're just going to have to work through the system to be able to learn those skills. To me, I want to take as much of the craziness math-wise. I want someone to know before they pick up a die, this is exactly what I need. Done. That's it. I need to roll, 11 or above. Or in some cases, if you have modifiers, well, my rolls, I need 7 or above. Are skills predefined, or are they added in a more free-form way? Free-form. So, again, what I'm trying to do is create a framework for the skills. So, let's say it's a magic skill. Okay, so the magic skill has, obviously, an area of effect. Pretty natural. That's agnostic. It doesn't care. It's an area of effect. It has to have the actual effect. What is the effect? Again, agnostic. Right? However you want. It must have, if it does damage, it must have a damage rating just like a weapon would. So in that sense, it fits into a weapons category. If it's an offensive spell, it fits into a weapons category and has an offensive rating. If it's a defensive weapon, it's a shield. It has a defensive rating so that it changes. If it's being used, it changes the defensive rating for the user or the person on which it is cast. The same with a weapon. Same with magical weapons or with sci-fi weapons. Basically, the framework is there just so you can build a weapon or a spell or a skill around it. If you say, I want to learn to lockpick, I think we all kind of know what lockpicking is. Now, the lockpicking, and each skill has no more than 5 levels. And again, it is kind of exponential to get to the next level of mastery. So getting to the first level of mastery is pretty easy. The second level, considerably harder. Third, much harder. Fourth is a lot of learning. And fifth takes a long time. So that you move up. A door with a lock could have a level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5 skill of mastery required to have a chance of beating it. Now, there's always a chance of beating it, okay? But if you are a level 1 lockpicker, you have a level 1 of mastery, and you try to pick a lock on a level 5, your chances reduce. What type of health system is included? Okay, so your health system is based on an attribute score. The attribute score is the LF score, the life force score. And basically, it's a lot like hit points. Same kind of idea. It is, again, rolled with a d20. The advantage to it is, the way my system works is I have what are called proficiency points. proficiency points can buy you more health. You can never take away health in terms of once someone has added health as a maximum, can never be taken away in that sense. The maximum is always there. There are specialized settings, and that's up to the game master. But in a sense, they can't sell those points back. They can buy those points using their proficiency, but those points, they may have to have 1,000 proficiency points, and that's, again, the GM decides how they get there, to buy a health point where they can use 100 for a skill point. So they have to decide how they're going to use these hard-earned proficiency points across their attributes, and at any time they can add to any attribute. And of course those attributes increase. For example, the offense attribute gives them a better chance of striking. The defense, a better chance of defending. Because in battle, the difference between an offensive point and a defensive point dictates the size of the dice pool that is rolled, and therefore the minimum and maximum. So if you are only allowed to roll one die because you are so much weaker than the other guy, you still have the opportunity to get up to a 3 success if you roll a 20. But you're not going to get 5. You're not going to get, in other words, you're not going to get an attack that's going to damage the party. The best you're going to do is just really damage the one guy, because you only have one die to work with. When you have 5 dice, it can be immense. Have you delegated how proficiency points are allocated to players? I've delegated how proficiency points are allocated to players to the GM. Yes. So I will have guidelines for it. You know, this is the basic idea. But you know what? The GM does it. He should. That way you don't have people trying to game the system saying, oh, that should have been worth 50 proficiency points. No, the GM decides. So that way it can be event-based. It can be event-based. It can be experience. It can be battle-based. The GM decides what it is. It can be milestone-based. It doesn't matter. The GM decides how the proficiency points are given out. The players then decide to do what they want to do with them. If they want to get stronger, that's fine. If they want to get, they want to learn more skills, that's fine too. They decide. So they have their own control over their player, over their character. They control their character once the GM has given them the ability to make changes. He does that by giving them proficiency points. They control their character. The GM controls how much they can advance at any given time. All right, guys, and we'll continue this conversation here in a second, but I do want to start one last sprint for you guys. So let me pull up my sprint timer. We are going to do a 15-minute sprint, and that'll take us just about to the end of the stream. So we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Start writing. Yeah, so the proficiency points are going to be, there will be guidelines, but again, they're all just guidelines. I want something that anybody can sit there and take any genre, any adventure, and fit it in. And easily. So if you're used to Pathfinder, you'll find lots of things like Pathfinder, but you'll find it very easy to move a character and an adventure over from Pathfinder. If you're used to D&D, bring it over. If you're used to Fate, you should be able to bring it over. So that way you can really make this a system that works for you and allows you to play any game with the same system and with the same mechanics, regardless of the genre or how you put it together. So that's the goal. Periodically, I find things like I was writing one of my things and decided, okay, I'm going to do a battle between 2 individuals. Let's see how it goes. And as you might expect, the individual with more armor won the battle, but not by much. Now, they were a weaker character to start with, and that was one of the things I wanted to show, was that armor added to their defense. That's another thing that I've tried to do is armor. Armor is expendable. And that's an important factor. If you have armor, it doesn't go from working to not working. It degrades over time. And it does not recover without repair. That's important in this system. Everything has the chance to degrade. Some things can be done by rest, like health. Rest or healing can help. But things like armor or weaponry, they break or they're damaged. You're not going to be able to continue using them until they are repaired. And that's not going to happen easily. So it's going to cost you to repair things. And the better the armor, the more it should cost to repair. Again, one of these things where it's exponentially. So it's something that should also make it rare. So the guy who's got the best armor, that armor should be rare. And if it's damaged, it should be very difficult and very expensive to find an individual who has the skill to repair that. Just like it would in, the real world. In the real world, you got something expensive. You want someone who really knows what they're doing, and they're going to charge you for it. And there's not as many of them. Same idea here. So armor degrades. Weapons degrade. Everything has a life. You can renew it, but at a cost. And that's something I want, because I want the play to be storytelling based, which is why I wanted to stay with one die so we don't have to work on it, the rolling mechanics that much. But I want the GM to be able to say, well, now, you took a massive blow to the chest, and now there's a massive crease in your armor because of it. You can feel it pressing against your chest. But it's not enough to stop you, because it was the first blow. But the second blow hits him in the shoulder, and now that it started to separate there, now the effectiveness of that armor should degrade because of that. That is also done with in terms of health. You have a certain level of offensive capability. When your life force, your hit points, drop to half, your offensive points drop in half. They don't degrade slowly, they go in half. Your hit points come down to half, bang, you have half the offensive points. Map is making you anxious. Hey, don't worry about it. Those are all supposedly red states. Yeah, it looks like he took Florida. Well, he needed it. Not worried about it. Besides, we're in a writing sprint. You got like 9.5 minutes. If your hit points degrade to 3/4, if you've lost 3/4, then you're going to lose an additional half on your defensive points, or on your offensive points. Because if you're that hurt, if you've been hit so much that you've lost 3/4 of your life force, you can't possibly be fighting at the same strength. Yeah, it's, I want the DM to be able to really kind of shape the story. So imagine a story where you're having a battle, but this guy's been hit, his armor is damaged, and in fact, it gets to the point where the armor is damaged. Now he actually starts taking physical damage to himself because the armor's not protecting him anymore. At some point, he has to not be able to fight with the same strength. In fact, if he keeps the armor on after it is damaged so badly, it's actually a negative. If you take a hit in a piece of armor so hard that it bends into your chest, you cannot possibly move the same way. So therefore, if you keep that armor on, you actually lose offensive capability and you lose defensive capability because it's actually hurting you. That's what I want, is for a game master to be able to use that in their storytelling. Yeah, not even Boromir commands that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where you look at it and go, that makes sense. And it also, to me, adds a tension to a battle. You've got great armor, but you know, if that guy hits you hard enough, and it's always possible, he could damage it to the point that you can't fight, or that your fighting is degraded. Also, the same kind of system applies to creatures within the world, all species. For example, if you have a mouse, great. The mouse would have a low offensive capability. Why? How much damage is a regular mouse going to do? But their defensive capability is actually high. Why? They're small, they're fast, they're hard to catch. So that way, you have a way to balance things out where the guy, he's got massive offensive capability, but he's going after the mouse. That mouse can get away from him. It's not going to do him any damage, but him trying to squash it's not going to be easy either. It's not like he's just going to step on it. And in fact, if his fail is big enough, if he rolls, I'm going to roll against this mouse, and he rolls a massive fail, he can hurt himself and his party for being such an idiot. You know? And the GM can simply say, well, you try to squash the mouse with your boot, but instead you slip on a... but what you've done is you've caused the mouse to pee himself because he was so scared. You slip in the mouse urine. You fall. Your sword flails to one side. You take damage from your fall, and they take damage from your flailing sword. That'll serve him. Right? It's always possible. And it gives the GM a lot more work, a lot more fodder to work from, because you never know. And I think personally, like I said, I've said you can play it with one, and I actually think it's more fun with one or even just two. Why? With one, you can kind of do the math, because it's, like I said, most of the time it's going to be 5 dice that you roll. So, whoop, that's a 10, that's a negative. Whoop, I got a 12, that's a positive. Okay, we're at 0. I have 3 dice rolls left. When you do it with 2, you know even quicker. You could do it with the 5, but the fun is, you roll the dice roll, I got 2 positive, 2 negative, or they cancel each other out. There's never a 0. If, in the end, you roll a 0, because everything added up, for example, for example, you roll, for one reason or another, you only get 4 dice in the pool. You roll a 20, and then you roll 3 below 10. It's a 0. You cannot end a roll on a 0. So you will take 1 more dice roll. Now, everything rides on that 1 die. Exactly. You'd have the drum roll moment. What's going to happen? And you add that fun kind of tension. Like, oh, come on, come on, come on. And then you roll. And that die roll cannot be... It does not get multiplied up. There's no criticals on it. It's either a plus or a minus. So it's never going to be a big win or a big loss on a 0. Because that kind of blows the idea of a 0. You had a 0 and now all of a sudden it's a huge fail? No, that's no fun. It's always just going to be a 1 or a success or a fail on that 1 dice roll. Because that keeps it it keeps it consistent. But those other rolls, you cut. Which one? This one, you mean? That one? My arm? Yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah. Working in the yard. Yeah, I got attacked by all kinds of yard implements. I never notice them until later, and I go to take a shower and it stings. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday are my days to work around the house, do that kind of stuff. I can't remember what I was doing this weekend that I cut it, but I did. I cleaned up the patio and assembled stuff for my wife, and I got cut. 2.5 minutes roughly left, folks, on this one. In case you were following the map, Trump is now at 90 electoral college votes, Biden at 63. But here's the thing. Not one of the states that have been called so far have gone against what they were plotted to be. At least not that I can tell. Oklahoma, Missouri, Indiana. Yeah, it's looking like right now, still a 64% chance for Biden to win, Trump at 34%. But we haven't seen a whole lot of the blue states yet. New Jersey hasn't come in. Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York. We don't know Pennsylvania. We don't know Michigan. We don't know Wisconsin. We don't know Georgia. We don't know North Carolina. So all of those states have the possibility. And, of course, there's the West Coast. I mean, right now you could add 60, 55, 62, 74 votes to Biden if you wanted to. Because those 3 West Coast states, plus Hawaii, so that's another 4 votes, 78 votes. So you could easily say that Biden is at 141 handily. So, not much of a worry at this point yet. But it'll be an interesting evening. Where are we at? 1 minute. 1 minute left. 1 minute left, my friends. It's kind of my John Rice Davies. 1 minute left, my friends. And then I will go see Indy. New York is in a completely different place than I thought it was. Many folks picture it right on the coast, and it's not. It has a small piece of it that touches the coast, but the vast majority of it is actually north. So we're almost done with the sprint. So if you are sprinting, quickly get done. They're yelling at me that my pizza's here, so I'm going to have to go down here in a minute. Dog is even telling me so. And we'll wrap this up for the evening. But yeah, the gaming system's I would say it's about a month away from being ready for anybody to test. And then it'll be a rough test. Guys in the U.S. so need a Jack Ryan. It's too bad that Sean Connery is no longer around to talk to Ryan. Good doggy. Yes, he's saying, pizza! Map on Google has a lot more results showing. Yeah, but they're all predictive. The one I've got is actually they're only using states that are officially called. What kind of pizza? It all depends on who it was for. I'm having a Brooklyn-style pizza with Italian sausage and beef and extra cheese. Double cheese, actually. And light sauce. It's the Brooklyn style, so I can fold it. All right. If you were writing for Game of Tomes, pop in your total there. So I can tally it and send it up to the good folks on the Goog, on the Google Forms that I have to fill out. Otherwise, I'm going to eat dinner. That becomes present in the books. Yes, you're right, actually. I'll be there in a minute. This is Kahuna yelling at me about pizza. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm going to come get pizza. All right, I don't see anybody reporting. I'll give it another few seconds here. Yeah, oh, this map I have shows Florida counted. Sorry, there's my head. They're showing it for Trump. So yeah, Florida is counted. My big head was in the way. All right, doesn't look like anybody's giving me... Oh, broke the clip on my pencil. So I'm going to avail myself of pizza. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming. Thanks for the interest in the gaming system. I'll let you guys know when I've got something to play with, and maybe you guys can try it out. Otherwise, I'll be back for Kahuna Quiet tomorrow morning. If you're writing for Game of Tomes, come to Kahuna Quiet. It's sprints for 3.5 hours, at least. Non-stop. You can rack up lots of points. We're trying for 14,000 words tomorrow. So, I hope you guys have a great night. Who should we raid? Anybody got an idea? Let me see who we can raid here. It's funny, I'm not used to it being dark outside. All right, so we got Harold's Table or Roll Society. Anybody want to choose? Harold's Table, Roll Society. Harold's Table, Roll Society. We'll go with Harold's Table. I hope he's up. Raid. Harold's Table. Are they still up? Is Aaron still up? I'll send it to them. All right. I'll send it back to them. I'm glad to. They are always sending it to me, so I can send them back. So, off to Aaron's stream you go. Have a great evening, and we'll see what shakes out in the morning. Have a great night.